what that means.
Oh, hey, Birm. We're back for another back and forth after a nice summer vacation. Well, I took vacation. You just been working like a madman. So
What can I say? I work finds me.
work fine. It could be worse. I think there's some people out there that work can never seem to find them. So that's good that work's able to find you. And then some of it, I'm sure it's just your hard work. I don't know. You tend to put yourself out there. You ask for opportunities, I think, and people answer.
I I don't uh, I don't discriminate with opportunities. Apparently, I just say yes to everything. Apparently, it works out. It works out.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before, but I think that's a good, it's something you should do when you're younger, I think. But as I get older, I find myself having to say no to things just so I can dedicate time to things that I like or things that are most important to me. Otherwise, I don't have time to do everything, to say yes to everything.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where that time you're talking about when you're younger goes because I don't have any of it either. So
I see.
I need to start saying no.
I think maybe once you have like kids or significant other, and then maybe some kids, and then like you have your own place that you have to maintain, like an apartment or your house with yard work and all that stuff. It's just time just seems to slip away. That and energy, I found, right? When you're young, you could just stay up all night, you get up early. As I get older, I find that becomes a lot more difficult. I need my rest more, and I don't have as much energy as I used to. So
Let's get started with the video. I don't think they're here to see us chat.
what? Oh, is that what everyone wants to hear? Yeah. Anyway, so I guess just great introductions. My name's Chris. I'm a software consultant. I have a company, a single person software consultant company called Saturday Morning Productions. But lately, I've been working a lot with a company in the States called Corgi Bytes, kind of modernizing legacy code, which has been a lot of fun. It's been a very interesting to see some what people consider old. Everyone would think it's giant mainframes and like some old I don't know, just some old AS400 application, but a lot of it's just like old Ruby applications. I'm sure eventually we're going to be supporting some old React applications. Like give it another 5 or 10 years, and there's going to be some React app that like that's going to be considered legacy that someone's going to need to support. So yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. How about you, Berm?
I'm Birm. I am a full stack developer. I am apparently a legacy coder as well, because a legacy
Oh,
programmer as well, because I'm currently working on what I consider old React project. Uh, React came from a class-based components. Now it's functional, but I don't like the class-based, and I have to work on it. I have to work with it, so I'm like teaching myself some more. There's also this like library called Redux, which is global state, and there's an older version of it I have to work with. So yeah, we're already there with React, and with these JavaScript libraries, they change daily, and it's impossible to keep up. So I'm there. I feel your pain with the legacy code. Maybe not as much, but still. But yeah, I'm a full stack developer. I code for fun and for profit.
and for profit. That's an awesome
Yeah.
way to put it. All right, so I'll share the screen here. There you go.
That's going to be my new bio now. I just came up with that right now.
Code for fun and for profit.
Yeah.
That's not too bad, actually. You can see my screen okay there, Berm?
Yep. Actually, can you zoom in a bit, because I'm on a fairly big screen, so like it's easy to see, but I don't think people on small screens would be. It's Control plus.
Oh man, see, I'm not on a. Does that work in Linux? Oh, it does. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay, a bit too much. That's good. That's good. Maybe a bit less.
A bit less. There we go.
I think that's you can see that.
I guess if people are
I will
trouble,
move it to my. I will move it to my small screen to see. Just a second. Okay, maybe zoom in a bit more.
zoom in a bit more. All right. There we go.
Okay, that's good. Okay, let's get going.
Yeah, if people are having trouble seeing our screen, let us know. All right. Yeah, we have to get this done quick too, because Birm has to watch the tennis match coming up here. So, and I have to go see the
Go
Legend of
Canada.
the Five Rings. All right, so let's get this app. Let's run the. Okay, how do I run the app again? Do you remember how to do that?
You have to first point to take the something about pointing down to the Docker component. Like getting it up, yeah. So it's not down, it's up, right? I did download Docker to try it out, but my computer, the jet engine started and almost took off. So I maybe next time I need a better laptop to try it.
All right, so this looks like it's working, right? Because this is basically our. We need to maybe add some fanciness to it. But what we did last time was we added this button, and then we added some login so that when you click it, it'll actually log in with my Google account. Oh, something flickered there. Where did that? Oh, thought I brought up a box, or did I click it so fast it disappeared? Oh, now it's not even working. Birm, what's going on?
Open the console. Oh, it's disappearing somewhere. It's showing up, but it's disappearing somewhere.
Yeah, okay. All right, so developer tools, that's what you're looking for. Oh, sorry, I'll make this bigger. There you go. It looks like you're using developer build a Firebase. That's fine. Failed to load resource. Server responded with a status of 400. Huh.
You haven't even tried to log in though.
Bad request, invalid argument.
This is odd.
All right, should we just wipe? What should we do? Should we just wipe our browser? I'm not seeing anything in the terminal here.
Oh, I don't think anything shows up in the terminal. It's not
because the thing was we could, once we logged in, it would take us to our dashboard, but we needed to add security to this dashboard page, and that's what we wanted to do today.
Yeah.
But now we're getting this error. Google APIs.com identity toolkit. Oh, I bet you I know what it is. Okay. Okay, so where do we keep all those API keys? What file is that?
Is
in the ENV?
In the ENV. Yeah.
Yes, I changed all these. All right, so let me, because they're always here. So let me bring up the all right, how do I change my API? How do I find my API keys again? Do you remember?
Settings button.
Settings button.
That's like on the left side. Yeah, project settings, and at the bottom.
All right. So let's see if these are different. AI. That one
it really shouldn't be. Odd.
Oh no, it is different. Yeah, okay. Because I changed it last time, so I'll change it again after this video too, just in the off chance. So this is the API key, right? Sorry, let me put this back over here. Web API.
It should if you click on like on there, it should say like show you the difference between JavaScript and HTML. Like give you an option between the two.
Sorry, on this page?
Yeah. Scroll down to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Here's all the ones. Yeah.
Like a CDN or try config or actually you can just copy that part, like take that whole part and then just paste it there so you can just move it.
Everything else should be the same. I just regenerated my API key. is what I did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
All right.
sense.
So now if I do that, I'm just going to stop this and then start it again.
Oh yeah, you have to do that, by the way. I've learned my lesson over like hours trying to debug something that you just kind of have to restart your server anytime you change something outside the SRC file.
All right, choose an account. Oh, I'll move this off to the side. All right, so basically, oh yeah, okay, good. Yay. There, fixed it, no problem. See, all those other tutorials where everything just works. Like you should watch ours because things don't work. So I have to remember next time because I'm going to change API keys after we've done this video again. I think it says I don't know how important it is to change this one, but I'll change it again once we're done this video. So I'll have to remember that for next time.
Yeah, it's a free Firebase account as well. So if anybody tries to use your keys to like abuse your account, if it hits a limit, it'll just stop working, and like you can just create another project. Whereas there's no profit in like abusing it, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we got our apps working again, so last time we added this login button. We click it. We can log in. So it even oh yeah, just logged me in again. So we didn't even cache locally the fact that I was already logged in, right? Like I went through the whole login process there again.
Yes. Technically, it is cached, but we're not looking for the cache.
Yeah,
right now.
not looking for the other issue we have is we go to like a private. So the issue we're going to fix today, if we go to like an incognito window, and we go directly to the dashboard, it just lets us in. There's no security on this page, and that's what we want to add. We should only see this welcome to your dashboard page when you're signed in. So that's what we're going to add today. All right. So, okay, good. Everything runs. I can quit that. All right. So what's the first thing we need to do there, Birm?
Quick tip. You see the little map thing on the left-hand side of your editor thing? Yeah, I hate those things, and they like just take up extra space. They don't do anything. If you want to get rid of it, it's just you go to settings by doing Control, comma.
Oh, you don't like jumping around?
Oh, you like that part? They just take up extra space there. Super annoying.
Okay, sure. We'll try getting rid of it. What do I do? Control, comma.
Control, comma to go to settings and map. Yeah, so you can the first control thing. Yeah, you can just toggle it off and on from there.
All right, okay, it's gone. The one thing I wish maybe there is a plugin for it. It'd be nice if it showed all these like methods and stuff. So like just a list of the methods on the side. Because when I do in development in other languages and other IDs, I have a list of all like the methods on the side, and I could just click and jump to them.
I bet VS Code probably has a method for that. Like they have not a method, an extension for that. They have an extension for everything. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
We'll have to look for it later. Otherwise, we won't be able to watch your tennis tournament. And I'll miss the Legend of the Five Rings. So okay, so this is our side. So maybe we'll just what we did last time is we wrote this sign-in page, right?
Yeah.
And the way it works is we use this auth, which is a Firebase authentication, right?
Yep. We imported it from Firebase. Yep.
Yeah. And then we sign in with pop-up, which basically brings up that Google pop-up that I entered my password and everything into. And then if it's successful, it takes us to the dashboard. If it doesn't, we just log the error to the console. So that's the other reason we weren't seeing anything when we click the button and nothing happens. So if this is a real app, obviously we'd want to show a nice error message, but that's something we can add later. So what we want to do, from my understanding, if I'm assuming React.js is like a lot of other applications, once we successfully log in somewhere here, oops, how do we comment? There we go. Cache. We want to cache the logged in user, basically, right? After we log in, probably before we go to the page too. And then when we go to the dashboard page, somewhere in here or in another component or something, we're going to have like check for logged in user for something like that, right?
Yep.
We're going to have logic in here.
Yep.
That's the gist of what we're going to do today, right?
Yes, yes. The way we're going to do that is by keeping track of the current user.
Okay. All right.
Just a second. So the current user, the way we do that is by using this. There is a React hook called context. Use context and create context. We're going to be creating context, which basically context is a global state management tool that allows us to, like right now, if you look at go to app.css, app.js, I mean.
App.js. There we go.
I don't know if that's the best example, but basically data can only be passed one way, and it's just down in React. The only way you can pass data down is through props. Like, for example, if you had dashboard there, you would pass like props into dashboard, and dashboard would then have access to that. But the thing is, though, dashboard won't be able to access to like if you know about like the DOM tree, how it's basically like the parent, children, and then grandchildren, that sort of thing. It won't a child won't have access to a sibling. It can't pass data to a sibling. So in React, you will need a global state management tool. Redux is one, but another one is like a much easier one, which with much less boilerplate code, is called context. And so we're going to be creating a context to keep track of that. So we're going to have a context, and we're going to have Firebase's current user tool to like current user method to give us access to what the current user is doing and who the current user is, and if there is a current user. And then we're going to give that current user data to the whole application, basically.
Okay, yeah.
So
it's very similar to like a lot of other applications I worked on. It sounds like, right? Like we're going to get the user information, we're going to put it in a spot where we can access it pretty much anywhere else in the application. And then every time we need it, we'll just like call it from this like singleton or this kind of global space. So I was curious. I'm not sure what Redux is. I hear people use that word a lot. It's a particular.
It is.
Oh, it's a state container. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
They say it's good for complex projects, but I'd say it's good for making projects complex. So it's a mess. It's very good, but it is a mess as well.
So this would be like another third party library we'd have to include in our project.
It is. It's from React. React Redux technically is from React, but it is. We're not going to be using it. We're going to be using context. So to create a context, it will be similar to how we're creating a component folder directory. We need to create a contexts directory inside the src file folder.
Okay, so context is kind of like I don't know what I'm asking. Okay, let's just go ahead. So anyway, so I'm going to components folder, you said?
No, src file. So inside the src file, similar to how we're doing with components, we create a contexts component folder. I think you might have created a file, you created a file, not a, yeah.
So this is going to be multiple contexts. So I should put an S on.
Yeah, I mean, you can have many contexts in there. Like you can have one for theme, you can have one for authentication, you can have one for basically anything you want to have access, like basically any state you want the whole app to have access to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, theme would be good. Like if you want the dark and light theme, you would have a context for your theme, and then you could set it to dark or light, and then your app would, whenever it wants to set the background color, it would go to that context and read the theme color. Okay.
Exactly. And it's beautiful as well because it's not just the state that you can keep in there, it's also methods. So you can have access to all the methods in there. Let's call it auth context.
Auth.
The convention for React is, yep.
Right, like this. And is it a JSX file? Or
yes, JSX.
Yeah, definitely correct it because sometimes I get in Ruby mode or C# mode or something like that. Like definitely correct me if I use the wrong camel casing or style. Okay, done.
Okay, so let's begin with like a regular, what do you call it? Like, do you remember the shortcuts we used to create a functional component with ES6?
No, you showed me that last time, but you're gonna have to remind me.
RAFCE.
All right.
Yeah.
This first one
makes life easier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, It puts in the scaffolding. Okay, yeah, cool. Auth context
nice.
With all this weird gobbledygook. All right, and then we export it. Okay.
So the way React context works is it wraps the whole application. It wraps the whole application is going to be put inside app.js, and the whole application is basically going to be a child of it.
Okay.
So what we want to do is pass in the children as props. So inside the parentheses, it's a destruction like hack, but like object curly braces, and no, you put children there, just children. And that is a keyword for basically anything that is put in between. I will show it to you later, but that's just a keyword for React. And then
the children
inside,
is a keyword, or the curly braces are?
No, children is a keyword for props. So usually it would just be props, but children is a specific type of prop.
Okay.
And inside the return, in between the two divs, curly braces, and this would be where we display the children.
Okay, how do I just put children?
Oh, but just type in children. Yeah. So anytime
what does the curly braces mean? Because like in Ruby, this is a hash, but I'm assuming in
it just destructures the props, all the props that are coming in. So usually in React, when you're passing a prop to a function, or you're passing a prop to when you're passing props to a component, you would have just props as the, like, instead of having a curly braces, you would have just props as the thing, and then props.children, props.name, props.whatever as the, you have to like define all of that inside. You have to define all of that inside the return. But if you don't want to do that, you can just destructure all of it at the top.
Oh, it's just creating an object, right? Okay, a blank object. An object with one like property in it, I guess.
Oh, yeah, technically, okay. Yeah, it is. It does come in as an object. Props does come in as an object.
Object literal. Oh yeah, okay. So instead of writing, you can write this instead of writing like new object and then setting it right. Because in JavaScript, kind of you can like this method or this property is just created on the fly. You don't have to predefine it, right?
Yeah. You should look into something called TypeScript. Makes life harder, but also very much easier.
Okay, so this part, actually what I should do, I should get this thing running as well and bring up our application again. So it should still be working. So now, but you said we need to wrap the entire JavaScript or the app.js?
The whole application, yeah. But not yet though, because there's a bit of what do you call it? What's the word for this? boilerplate code that still needs to be.
Okay. Okay. Let's. Because theoretically, if you wrapped it now, nothing should change. Everything should just work, right? That's what I was just curious about. So if we wrapped it now, how do I wrap it around the return?
Wrapping it would be like right now, div is wrapping the whole application.
Right.
So it's just that's the parent of the whole thing. So another quick thing, the naming convention for I totally forgot. It's not a regular component in auth context.jsx. The naming convention for the auth context is like auth. It's the provider. It's what provides the whole. It's what provides, because there's a few more components. We haven't actually created the context. There's a few more things we have to do there. But change it to auth provider.
This context to provider like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'll just rename this guy too.
No. Keep the like the file name the same. Just change the export as well in export.
Oh, why are we having? Is there going to be an auth context down here below?
No, there is no. The file is going to be called auth context. There is going to be an auth context, but it's not going to be that. It's going to be up top or down below, but like up top is convention. So we will be creating a context. So this is where React comes in. So on line 2, this is above. This is outside of the function. Yeah. So on line 2, we would go. This is where we create our context. So let's name it auth context. Const auth context. And then no, it's not a method. It's not a method. It's just going to be it's going to be a React create context. So it will be React capital R React.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
This is a library coming straight from the create context. Yes. So that should be auth context. Now should be create. Should have a context. And there is another one now that we want to use. What do you call it? We want to use the context. So below that, this is where the boilerplate code is, but unfortunately, but nowhere near as much as the what do you call it? Redux as well, but still is quite a bit. Now we create a function to like use that context. So export const. This is what we want to export as well, because this will be calling from other methods.
Right. Like I can just cut and paste that example you were showing me earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's use ES6 though.
Oh, okay. How do I use ES6?
That like the arrow function.
So const that function.
Yeah, const. No, just const. Const use auth, and then
use auth. Okay.
Between equals.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, basically. Okay,
so
right. So
this is how I would access, because this makes it public. So this is how I would get this authentication context outside from this component. I mean, you call this use auth method, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. So let's get started with our getting our user data from Firebase. So let's import Firebase. Let's import auth from Firebase.
Up here?
Yep.
Import auth, you said?
Like remember, it's in the little curly braces because it's not a default export. And
don't remember any of this. So if I go look at a sign in, this is what I want, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm importing auth and Google provider.
Google provider, technically, if we can just leave that sign in there, so we just need auth. But yeah, we could technically have both.
We're getting this from .fire, and this is .fire. Or I mean, one level up fire, and auth is okay. That's our Firebase auth. Okay. Okay. This is me just trying to figure out where all the stuff's coming from. Nope, not this one. All right, so we want this, but we don't need the Google provider in this case, right? We just need the authentication.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So if do you, oh, right. So now there's something called use effect. That is a React hook. I don't know. So you're not familiar with, so I don't know examples that you would know, but basically what use effect is, it's a lifecycle method, which like on the lifecycle of the component acts, it keeps track of if the component is mounting, before it mounts, after, like before it, when it updates, and when it mounts. That's basically what use what do you call it, effects does. So we're gonna import use effect and use it to call fire.
Is it use like this?
It's inside. It's also from React, so we would call it from the first line. Yeah. So you would put a comma.
Okay.
And then curly braces, because it's not a default export.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the first letter it's a camel case, so the first letter would be, yeah, perfect. Now we would go to, what do you call it? Inside the auth provider.
Okay, inside the auth provider. Sorry, what I'm inside here. Okay.
Between the auth provider and the return, like inside where we'd usually put the logic in a React component.
Mm-hmm.
Between like the auth and, so like line 11.
Oh, before the return?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where you would put the logic, but this is like, if this is a, like, what do you call it? A React, not React, an ES7 extension that I had you download on this thing before. That's what gives us RAF CE shortcuts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
So this would be where you can type use effect.
Mm-hmm.
Click the T. Delete the T for a second, and type it again. Okay, I think it's the second one. There you go. So that is what use effect looks like. So quick explanation on what use effect is. It is a lifecycle method, and what allows you to do is, instead of running every time the component renders, use effect allows you to only run the function when it mounts once, like the first time it mounts. And then you can make it run every something else changes as well, some sort of data changes. But we don't want to do that. So you can like delete where the input says. The input is basically where not the array itself, just inside what's inside the array. So just delete the input. There you go. Yeah. So now it doesn't really care about any data that it's not going to care what's being updated. We only care about when it's being mounted. So inside there, we're going to have.
We can't do this. That seems weird.
That kills that runs on render, and it runs to a bunch of bugs. It's very complicated. I don't totally understand why it doesn't work, because it like tells you to delete it, but it runs on render and sometimes runs continuously, which is super annoying. But convention, at least as far as I've seen it, is it keeps as an empty array if you don't want to use it.
Because this one here, right, like use effect, like it doesn't have an empty array.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try it, and we'll see if you don't run into bugs.
Yeah.
Because,
okay. Maybe I'm wrong. That's for React 16.8. So I don't know, maybe we're using a different version. Okay, so then I need an effect.
And cleanup. So what you do is return the cleanup. It returns does it return a promise, and then you just return it as to unsubscribe. But we will do that as well. But you can delete like the effect in return and clean up the whole thing inside the use effect.
Okay.
Yeah. So this would be where we get access to the Firebase Firebase gives us a method that to keep track of the current user, and it's called, what is it called? On auth state changed is a little example is right here. So let's just start off with.
Are you sending me an example there?
Yeah.
So use effect, it's an effect hook. This is like an event. I still don't. Similar to component did mount and component did update.
So that's the class-based components. It replaces all of that in one go. But let's see. I sent it in the Zoom chat. The auth context hook, the use on auth state changed. Yeah. So that right there is like, do you remember how it's like sign in with email and password and sign with Google, sign with Google authentication or whatever like that? That Firebase gives us access to. This is one of them, and it gives us access to the Firebase's tool for keeping track of if there's a current user or not. And we could technically console log it if you wanted, like console log user inside the method. But we haven't put it anywhere yet, so
yeah, this is
we won't
okay.
have.
So this is an observer that I'm just gonna okay. So we have the changes. We just need, we don't care about their name or anything. Let's just get the fact that there's a logged in user and one that there's not, right?
Yeah. So you would, well, technically, this would be where we put this would be where we put a, what do you call it? We set this as state for in React, like the use state hook.
Oh, okay. Let's
so this would be where we set the state. So up top in like beside use effect, we'd import use state, or technically actually there's an easier way of doing it. On line 11, above use state, above use effect, online. Yes, so the convention is you would put all your state right below where the function begins, where the functional component begins. So again, that ES7 extension thing allows you to easily do this by just type use state and enter. Type current user. Oh, nope, you gotta, it allows you to do it both at the same time. And then instead of set state, it's set current user as well. Yeah. Capital C for like convention.
And then we still want this to be initial state.
There's no such thing as an initial state there, so it's just empty. Like initial state is just telling you what to do. But you would usually just click tab through it with the extension.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and basically, I don't know if I talked about use state last time, but you can't change state directly. You have to use the use state method, set state method, and that's just the destructured version of it. Anyways, back in
so this
line
is
15
inside. This is going to check to see if we have a current user, right? This use state is going to check to see if we have this current user, right? Is that what this is saying? And if so, load it into this variable or no?
So like right now on line 15, if you type set state, set current user, sorry. And it's set current user it's a method. So
Oh, I need the brackets.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't assign it directly, and then you put user inside there. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically now, like in React with the use state hook, you can't set state directly. You can't go like current user equals user, like right there. You have to access it through that method. That's just it's just a quirk of React.
Oh, okay.
There's the whole nonsense behind it, but in the functional, it would make a lot more sense if you were familiar with class-based components, because class-based components, there's a lot of abstraction being done here, so you don't really see the logic of how exactly it's working. But in set state, it would just be in a class-based components, it would just be an object, and you'd be setting state like how you do it in regular JavaScript. But now we can't do that.
So if I wanted the current user, I'd have to write something like, I don't know, u equals, right? Current user. That would give me the current user, right? I could go u dot whatever I wanted to, right?
Oh, so the current user is not a method; it's just a data type for like it's yeah.
Oh, so I could
but
just
you can
use
access
current. I could just use current user then.
current user, exactly. Yeah, current user dot whatever their name is, whatever, if it happens to be like, so current user, what it gives you is basically an object, like no like an auth state changed. What it gives you is the user object, so like their name, their email, their profile picture, their a few other things as well. It's not everything, but it's like a few very important things, and you can have access to it. Like, so it's current user dot email, current user dot password, etc. And you can see exactly when we render it out, how big it is, how much Google has on you, because it basically just shows everything. So let's see, where are we now?
So if this is nil, this will still fire, right? Like when we log out, I guess we'll find out. Okay. Okay, so done.
Okay.
So this sets the current user. All right, we should probably start. We've written a lot of code. Let's test some of this stuff before we write any more. I'm getting a little nervous.
That's the thing. We don't have access to, we haven't given access to the application, so we technically can't test this at all.
Well, let's give access to the application then, right? Why don't we?
We need a few more things to have access to give it access to the application.
Like what? We just need to wrap this, and then we should be able to. We could just even print this out to the console or something, right?
Not yet. We need to give 1 second. Just there's like one more step left, and we will do that.
Okay, but yeah, I'm starting to write a lot of code, starting to get a little nervous. Like we should be able to be testing this as we write in little snippets, right? Because if something doesn't work, we've written a ton of code, and then we have to figure out why it doesn't work.
Yeah. So let's get to the so auth context also has this thing called a value, where you give access to like so it would be a value object, const value right above the return.
Const. Okay, so we have the user here. So okay, so what else do we need? Because we have the user and we saved him. So sorry, when we go back here or wherever we're gonna do it, why can't we just check that the user's here? And if so, show the page. If not, don't show the page. Like this should work right now, won't
it? Not technically, because it still has few steps left yet.
Okay,
line 18.
So okay, so but what am I missing? Like why won't that work? Like we have the user set here.
Yeah, like, but again, it's in React, data can only be passed down, and we're not actually passing the data to the children yet. There is no nothing is wrapping it yet. So values, or just value, technically const value values, and where we would put the we also need to change the div.
Okay, so sorry, what are we doing?
Const. So right now, Oh, a step I forgot, by the way, is the we need to use the auth context to wrap the children. Totally forgot that step. Like inside the children, like that line 20, I mean, instead of the div wrapping the children, it would be the auth context provider. So auth context. So what we have up there.
Like this?
And then dot provider.
Provider.
Capital P provider. Yeah, and then inside, right beside, like on line 20, there is a values thing. We have to pass in a value. So on line 20, like you know how you do like classes and stuff like that? Yeah, there. No, just like classes in HTML. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Value equals. Yeah. No, it's just value equals.
Like that?
And object or curly braces. And so this is where we'd pass in the values that we want to wrap the whole thing. But it's not an actual object. That's just I keep saying object because that's the first word that comes to mind when I think of curly braces. But we're not. It's not an actual object. You can delete the object word from there. We need to pass in. This is where values would come in. So on line 18 is where we take the values, type const value, and it would be an object. It would be equals object, and enter. This is like as in inside there is where we pass in what do you call it? The current user. Current user. Because right now we haven't passed that in yet. So yeah, sure, that as well. But it's like it doesn't look. Yeah. And then now you can put that. You can type value because like the value object we would put in the auth provider, like in the empty auth provider object in line 22, like the curly braces. We pass in value there. Yeah. So now the whole application technically once we wrap the whole application with auth context with auth provider, we'd have access to the values of current user. And when we have more methods inside auth provider, we would just like list them all in there, and it would have access to every single one of those methods.
So why don't we just why don't we just do this? Why do we have that extra redirection in there?
Because like technically you're gonna have like a bunch of them, right? Like it's not just gonna be just one.
No, but why can't I just use current user? So oh, you mean there's gonna be multiple values in here?
Yeah, it's not just gonna be current user. It's gonna be auth context, and it's gonna be sign in. It's gonna be sign up, and a bunch of other stuff there as well. So instead of having all of that written in there, it would just be the value, and then you can put everything else in there. And I think that is the only thing remaining. Let me see auth contexts. This is the problem with right. I forgot to put I forgot to tell you quickly about the cleanup. The cleanup for use effect. Right. So the auth state changed method returns a promise. So that promise is how you unsubscribe from it. And so the way we can do that is just put auth like const unsubscribe equals on auth state changed, like on line 14. On line 14. Like assign it to a variable, basically. Assign the method to a variable.
Oh, okay.
Const unsubscribe. And then right below it, on line 17 technically. Or you would just return unsubscribe because it returns a promise, and you just run that. So because like technically you are
Can we just do that?
I'm not sure. Okay. If it returns a promise.
Why do we have to set it to a variable and then return it? Maybe that's a JavaScript thing I don't understand, but
so it's like promises are very hazy for me.
So what do we need this promise for? Can we basically
right.
Can we test some stuff without having this promise in here, and we can add it in later? Because again, I would love to at least test that something is working.
Okay, right. Let's see if anything else is missing. I think that's it. I think we can test it. Let's quickly look over it again. I'm just trying to see, because again, this is just wait until you see Redux. It's way more boilerplate code. So right now we have current user, and we have it looking into Firebase, and then we're giving values to children. And then we have use auth as well. Great.
Oh, someone's stealing your car. Okay, so we have this whole auth context. Now when we sign in, once we've, I guess technically we should move this sign in into the auth context would probably be the way to do it. But let's just, for now, just because I want to test something, like, can I save this history here? Like, can I save this user? Like use auth, can I set the user somehow that I've signed in?
The user is inside the go to auth context.
I'll split the screen here. Okay.
The user is like being held by, or like, 1 second. The user is being held. I don't know if held is the right word, but held by Firebase, and that use on auth state changed method just gives us access to that. They're keeping track of the user for us, and we're just gonna use that and then set it as our state. So right now, the way we give access to the whole application is by going to app.js and then just wrapping the auth provider as the over the whole app.
Okay, so I have to do this in app.
Yeah. Technically, you can do it somewhere else, but like we want to do it through the whole app, and that's where all the components are right now.
Okay, so how do I wrap this whole thing?
I would like go in between and you can do that there technically as well. Yeah, let's actually do it there.
Here, like, am I using
auth?
Oops, like this auth provider?
Yeah, auth provider. Yeah, and then
oops, there we go. Like that.
And then are we importing it somewhere? Has it auto imported up top? It has. Nice.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. I think we should be able to test it now.
So nothing will work, right? Like the login still won't. Oh, we got to fail to compile. Let's see.
Auth context is not defined. Use state is not defined. Okay. So where is this?
Sorry.
It's inside auth context. Oh, right. Use state isn't defined. Okay. Yeah. And also use context isn't defined. Right beside use effect, basically, both of them.
There we go. Oh, that looks better. Oh, use state is
Let's see. No, we just defined it. Refresh.
Oh yeah, okay. There you go. It was a little behind.
Okay, right. So let's console log current user. inside the use effect, I think. Let's do it inside the use effect.
Inside here?
I mean, not the use effect, the auth context. Yeah. And yeah, anywhere there actually, or
so
actually let's do it outside. Let's do it outside of the use effect because the use effect only runs when the beginning.
Oh, okay. So should I set it like
line 18? Yeah.
Like here? Oops. All right. So is it, how do I console log? Just like this, console.log?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then I can just put
current user.
Current user.
You might have to. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Can you zoom into your browser as well? It's very tiny.
Oh, I don't know how to make this part bigger. That I don't know.
Control plus.
Oh, it does. Okay, man. Control plus. That's like the solving for everything.
I'm a collector. I'm an avid collector of keyboard shortcuts. So there's a video on an extension for keyboard shortcuts we have as well. Vim for browser. So
the Vim,
yeah,
yeah, it's Birm's favorite thing. So current user. Can I just use a plus sign for
comma?
Because
you can't add to a instead of a plus, you'd have a comma since it's an object. Adding a string to an object will give you funny errors.
Oh, okay. All right. Current user, undefined. Current user. Oh, we do have a user, so it's still me. Okay.
Yeah.
It fired 3 times. That's interesting.
Try having the array method inside the use effect. Not the array method. No, just having the array. Just so like comma. Array. Yeah, empty array.
Oh, it fired 1 last time.
Clear the and then refresh, and it just happened once, right?
Once because it was undefined, and then once because it did change.
Oh yeah. So on auth state changed is some like a method that runs. So yes, don't don't open it too much, like the the current user thing. I mean the console log, because like we'll have all your information in there basically.
Oh, does it?
Since you're signing with yeah.
I'm just taking a look and moved it over there. All I can see is my email. Okay, that's fine. Everyone knows my email.
Oh, isn't there more?
There's like some photo URLs or something. I'm assuming most of this is public if people really look for it. Okay. Yeah, I won't open that too often just in case. Okay. All right, awesome. So that seems to be working. Now we wrap this whole auth provider around that.
Yeah.
So now I should be able to access this and sign in.
Yes. So I mean technically, like what were we looking for? So why did you want to do that?
Well, I guess theoretically we should move this, like this logic here should probably go inside the auth context now.
Oh, for the sign-in?
Yeah, but right here, this is where. Oh, okay, but this thing is like a global. It's just always checking it. So it already knows that we're logged in. Oh, okay, so we don't need to do anything here. We don't need to cache this.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of Firebase, and also the curse of Firebase, because it does so much of the work for you.
Okay, so we don't need to cache that, but we need to go to like our dashboard or to this app.js and create, like you were showing me there was a private routes, but basically there'd be something here that checks if you're logged in or not, right? So like how
it wouldn't be inside the private, it wouldn't be inside the dashboard. It would be inside the special component that we create, which is the private route. We'd have to create a private route component, which again, like how we would pass every, like when you see it, like go to app.js.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you see like the thing that comes from like React Router DOM, like the route component right there?
Yep.
You see how you're passing in the component and that just sign in. So basically, they should already have this, but I don't know why they don't. What we're going to do is just create a private route component where we're passing our private routes as components. So that component will check so right now we can technically like pseudocode this. I don't think we're going to have time for to create the private route component as well. Maybe. I mean, it's
we're just running out of time. Just humor me. I'm just curious. So if we're in this dashboard here, and we've wrapped this whole auth context around everything, I should be able to access this. So if I went to this auth context and I added a method like, I want to do it in the auth provider. We're going to put like is logged in, basically. I want a method that's like
that the current user is logged in though.
Is logged in. All right, and then here I want to do something like if is logged, if not. Right.
Yeah, current user is logged in. A quick and dirty way of doing it, right there, would be if you want to put the log. This is like very like unsanitary.
Yeah, let's just do a hacky method now because we're running
hacky method right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put it inside the return.
In here,
you would have a ternary statement. Yeah, a ternary statement inside the return.
Okay.
First, we need access to use auth context and use auth from there though. So the way we do that is up top, you would import auth context, like auth provider. Is it auth provider? Let me check.
Where's that example?
Let's see. It is, yeah, it's just auth context. We'll just we'll import use auth. So the one we had at the top, like line 6.
Line 6, export this guy. Okay. So import.
Yeah, we'd since it's not a default export, we'd have to curly braces use auth. Nice. Damn. Why doesn't it work that fast for me? I'd always have to wrestle with it. So no, that would be first we'd have to take current user out of use auth. So use auth gives us access to all the methods as well. So on line number 5, because you see how use context is like it's being put in the context hook, and auth context is being put in the context hook. And then do you remember how we wrapped auth context around the whole app at the bottom with the auth provider? So that's where it's coming from. It's a whole. It's but on line 5, if we want access to current user, it'll be on line 5 on dashboard.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like right similar to where we put the state, like right below the
like before the return or after the return?
Before the return.
Oh, okay.
Similar to how so this is basically technically like our own version of a hook. It would be this is where we're using the destructuring thing again. It would be const. No, we're not using useState, but you're using this is where const and then curly braces current user. This is super fancy. And then equals outside of it, and then use auth and use auth as a method or like as a function. So basically, use auth just comes in with an object, and we're destructuring it. We're only calling that we only want the current user from there. So we can technically like console log. You can delete the console log from the use context, and we can put it inside the dashboard and see from there, and see if we can have access to the current user from there as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's try that. Compile. All right. We just refresh this. So nothing. And if we go to
we go to dashboard.
We should see it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
Nice.
I still don't understand how we got. Man, that's really confusing. So we use the auth, which returns a use context.
So like that whole component. So so what use auth is doing is giving us access to the context. It's a use context hook, so it gives you access to the context, and auth context creates the context, and then auth context is being wrapped around and given the values. The values is what we're getting.
The current user is set in this auth provider, which I guess doesn't.
But the values, if you look for value down there,
uh-huh.
and the values being passed into the auth context provider, and that's what we have access to right now through the use auth. So basically, if you like just forget about use auth for a second, that's all being set up, and the only way the way we have access to it is through the use context hook.
Wow, this is very confusing. Okay, I'll have to dig into that after. That seems.
React is you have to take like a lot of logic, the programming logic, and just throw it out the window. We're not.
Sorry, I'm just seeing if there should be undefined and nil. Okay, cool. I was just checking incognito because this one we're logged in, this one I'm not. Perfect. That's what I wanted to see. And then here we could just add like I'll just put this. Take that out. We could put like an if statement here, right?
No, the if statement will be inside the return.
Return. Like if. Can you just do current user, or do I have to do
it wouldn't be an if statement. It would be a ternary operator because for some reason you can't do if statements inside like React return.
Oh, okay.
So curly braces. Current user. And question mark. So ternary. Oh, is there no ternary in the other languages?
Oh, I see what you're saying. We need curly braces around this whole thing?
Yes, because that return is expecting JSX.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So first it is the true what do you call it?
True part.
The true return.
So you can't use if it's that's okay. Okay, so that can go there. And then what is is it a colon or something?
Colon, and then the false. By the way, you have to wrap the what is up with that. Just a second.
It's super confused now. Do I have to go current user dot nil or equals nil?
I'm not sure why it was just no, current user is like if it's null or undefined, it's falsy, so it should give you that. But anyways, try giving it the second one. I have no idea why it's giving you an error. I'm pretty sure maybe like
let's just put
redirect. You can do it like there's a method called redirect from React Router DOM. So it would be
redirect.
No, React Router DOM. So just it's an actual like a component type thing. So
this one?
No, like a type capital R redirect, but with like a second a JSX component. So yeah, basically, yeah. So it is treated like a JSX component, so like an HTML component. I mean, so curly like angle brackets from the beginning.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And then, oh no, just it's a self-closing tag.
Okay.
And then we'd give it the 2 there's a path you can give it. It's just a 2 equals, and then just /, which is just home, right? That's what we want to lead them. Still not sure why it's giving
unexpected token. So I have the curly brace, current user, and then question mark.
I think that might be the enter. That's what. Try wrapping the parentheses, the div in parentheses, and the redirect in parentheses. No, just the parentheses. No parentheses.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, like the normal ones. Like that.
Yeah, both of them. Can you like? That is super weird. It is. I might have to try this. Like, what is going on with this thing? Give me a second. I'm just gonna. This is. You can Google also how to.
So really, like the if statement won't. You can't do if.
So ifs don't work inside JSX. So it's.
Well, how do we do this? Yeah. No? Doesn't like current user.
Let's just do it up there as well. Okay, fine. Let's do it up there. Let's if current user. I'm pretty sure you can do return redirect to.
Yeah, and then this one we'll just put the div, right?
No, just return the redirect. If not current user, that's what we'll do.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if we're not logged in. Okay, so you want to do like if what's not? Is it an exclamation mark or the word not?
Yeah. You can just do one return, just one of them. Like just exclamation mark. This is weird.
Not current user. Do the redirect. What was that? Redirect to /. Oh yeah, okay. And then we can just get rid of this.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
and then you can have the regular div in the dashboard.
Oh no, I lost the regular div. There we are. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, that works. All this gobbledygook. Okay. Now I'm sure we're missing a closing parentheses or two now. Maybe.
No errors, so it should work. Let's see why that isn't working.
All right. If we log in. Welcome to your dashboard. Okay. Now if I go to my incognito window, which is this one.
/ dashboard. That should.
All right, it took us. It didn't redirect us.
Yeah, that's not good. 1 second. I'm not sure how I'm forgetting a ternary operator inside that. Oh, I can just test it here.
If not current user. Sorry, we're printing out the current user. Okay, let's try. I'll open a new incognito window. Dash. Oh, there it goes. It works once I refresh it in a new cognito window. Awesome. That's great. Oh yeah, current user undefined. This is exactly what I want. And it redirected me.
I mean, like a ternary operator is working for me here. I don't know why it's not working there.
Oh, that I don't know. This is pretty easy to read though. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna have to like do some homework and figure out. I don't understand. So this use state, I totally understand. It's how this use auth Perhaps this auth context, which is and then we have this auth provider that somehow ends up inside this auth context provider or something.
Oh no, that's just auth dot provider. That's
Auth
that's the
context
difference. We're just
dot provider.
so auth context. If you look at it, it's up top. So auth context is the React, React is giving us the context API, and we're creating that context, and we're calling it auth context.
Mm-hmm.
And then down there, where that auth context has a, what do you call it, a property, where it has a provider that we name the thing. That provider has it's a property that you have to pass in values into. So the values are the things that get passed to the whole application or anything that's inside the children there.
Oh, so it's making this like a variable, this current user available everywhere?
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to understand a little bit. Okay, but that'll be my homework. And then we wrapped this auth provider around everything, which made those values show up everywhere we wanted them.
Yeah, so like there's two things you have to do to give access to the whole application for auth provider. First is wrapping the whole app with auth context provided, and then giving access to the values. And then if you want to have access to those values, if you want to actually like not just be wrapped by them, but like have access to a specific value like current user, you have to use auth like up top. Mm-hmm. That's what the use auth does. It's another hook where you use the context. So the context we created, it helps us use that.
I'm still gonna have to do some reading. Okay.
So like think about it this way. If we tried to use auth without wrapping the whole application, we're not going to get anything because the app doesn't technically have that data. It's just a method. But yeah, there's plenty more resources that can explain it better.
Yeah, I'll have to do some reading because this part all makes sense, right? Like, okay, we got the user, we can see if they're logged in, if not, and obviously we'll move this not to the dashboard. We would move it to like the auth context or to like some component, like I don't know if there's component inheritance or in JavaScript, but all the dashboard pages we wouldn't have to have this if statement in every one. We'd have some generic check somewhere. It's just this, and this part kind of makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, like I'm logging who's logged in when they change, which is good. And then all this return, it's very meta. It's like here's the auth context and then the provider, and then we have the provider over here for some reason to expose the context again or something. Expose the use auth. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do some reading and figure that out. That seems very confusing. But overall, I think that's awesome. We got the login basically working. We'll have to do some cleanup, but yeah. And this is really handy. This use effect. So this just sets it once and then we're good.
Yeah. And if it changes, you can, technically React does Firebase does that for you, but like use effect is like does 4 things in one. So it's glorious.
Yeah, because eventually if we added a logout, right, what would happen is we go here and set the current user to nothing or nil or whatever JavaScript uses or whatever JSX uses. And then you wouldn't be able to access any of the pages anymore because you'd be logged out.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
I think we'll leave that here today. We got the quick and dirty way of doing the redirecting with the pages.
Yeah, we'll have to clean this up and centralize it for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that should be
No, I'll stop sharing it. Thanks, Birm. That was awesome. I was getting worried because we
Yeah,
kept writing all that code and not testing. There's like no unit test, no nothing. It's like, man, we should really be testing this. Seems to get me nervous.
Just wait until you find out what Redux is. There's like three files you have to make, all full of code, before you can even try to test anything.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. Even if you can, like, even if you just wrap like something that's not supposed to do anything yet, but you just want to wrap it, or just like, oh, I have this object or this, it's calling this method, and this method is not doing anything. Just run it and test it, because then you'll find out like if there's any issues with your initial setup or anything. The more you can like shorten a test cycle. Like if you write like 100 lines of code and you don't test anything and you have a bug, it's gonna be really hard to figure out what's going on. If you just write like 10 lines and then do a little test, it's like, it doesn't do everything I want to do, but at least this little bit of code that I've written seems to work. And then you write like another 10 lines and try it again. It'll make your life a lot easier in the long run. Even better when you can start adding automated unit tests for, like, you write little bits of code and then you just write some automated unit tests.
Yeah. So yeah, let's call it a day here because tennis is about to start.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks again, Birm. That was great. Cool. Well, enjoy your tennis match, and we'll chat again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we'll figure it out, and you'll find out as soon as we find out, guys. So
yeah, someone posted a question. We're just getting some clarification, and maybe if the question's clarified, we can answer that person's question. Yeah. Okay. Have a good night.